What happens when alien kittens bend reality and pick the least likely hero? They say wars reshape everything except the person fighting in them. He just gets noisier about how life used to be simpler, back when his lungs weren't replaced with synthetic filters and the biggest concern was the cost of ration bars. Meet Sergeant Rook Harren, the last man you'd call a hero. Even he'd agree. He hates running, hates following orders, and believes reloading is some kind of philosophical scam. But for reasons no one fully understands, Rook simply refuses to die. He's been shot, zapped, and nearly atomized. Each time, he grumbles, dusts off his jacket, and heads back into the fray. That tendency makes him strangely useful to the chain of command, though it also unsettles the medics who can't figure out why he keeps bouncing back. At precisely 3:20 shipboard time, aboard the dreadnought Falcon's domain, Rook sprinted down Corridor Delta 7 like a man fleeing an overdue debt collector. Alarm klaxons shrieked all around, red lights flashing, hull groaning. In his arms, he cradled something that shouldn't exist according to half the crew. 6 bright, fuzzy creatures mewling in neon colors. Pink, lime, sky blue, blazing orange, violet, and a weird off-white that glowed when it sneezed. Each kitten clung to Rook's armor with tiny claws that might as well have been micro-harpoons. He muttered to them under his breath, "Hang on, little chaos machines, I've got you." They weren't normal kittens. They pulsed with a faint hum that caused static in the overhead speakers. They batted their big eyes and vibrated at frequencies no standard creature could manage. One had crawled into his ammo pouch, blinking at him like it recognized him from a past life. Another had decided Rook's left shoulder was the perfect perch, occasionally licking the side of his helmet. The rest nestled wherever they could find a decent grip: his belt, his bicep, the back of his neck. Behind him, the ship's AI buzzed in his earpiece with the anger of a librarian who just caught someone burning books. "Sergeant Harren, you are not authorized to remove containment protocol specimens CR-100 through CR-105 from Deck 12. Return them at once or face disintegration under Article 97. Its tone suggested it would gladly carry out that punishment if it could pick up a plasma rifle. Rook rolled his eyes mid-sprint, nearly colliding with a retracting blast door that slammed behind him. "Yeah, thanks for the heads up," he growled. But these fluffballs weren't safe in your lap. The pink kitten, perched near his collar, squeaked and sneezed a tiny sparkle that danced in the air. He gave it a gentle pat. "Don't worry, Spark, I got you." The kittens had been discovered in a sealed stasis pod that read, "Do not open." It was precisely the sort of label that made curious military scientists do the opposite. Moments after they popped the latch, the kittens scurried out and started rewriting the lab's reality in small ways. Brightening lights with a glance, short-circuiting translation devices just by purring, and turning 3 senior researchers into twitching lumps of confusion. One even sprouted whiskers on his face. That man locked himself in a cabinet, muttering nonsense about cosmic fur. Rook found the lab in shambles, recognized immediate danger, and scooped up the kittens to get them out of harm's way. That's when the alarms exploded. Something about biologically volatile, unauthorized extraterrestrial juveniles. In simpler words, otherworldly baby cats that glow. Protocol demanded euthanasia or indefinite captivity. Rook thought that was insane. Who kills a bunch of purring neon furballs? So he ran. He had a small problem, though. The Dreadnought's security network had labeled him a rogue. At least 3 squads of security drones were on standby, set to shoot anything that breathes. This was exactly how Rook had imagined dying. On the run, weighed down by meowing stowaways, absolutely no plan in mind. He dashed around a corner and nearly got turned into plasma dust by 3 turret bots locking onto him. "Stop," he shouted, shifting the kittens to one arm so he could grab his repeater. "Unstable biological assets here. Shoot, and you'll blow us all to pieces." The bots confirmed his statement, then fired anyway. Plasma blasts zipped toward Rook, crackling with lethal intent. He braced for impact, then the blast curved. They went wide, as if shoved aside by an invisible force, burning holes in the walls and shorting out an unlucky snack dispenser. Rook gawked at the kittens. They blinked back at him, all innocence and tiny whiskers. "Well," he gasped, "that's new." The AI's voice crackled again, tinged with worry this time. Escalating containment to level Gamma. Deploying Ambassador Quana Ray for negotiations. Rook's stomach tightened. Not her. Quana was no sweet talker in a business suit. She was a relentless peace broker who wore matte black armor decorated with gold symbols of treaties she had forced civilizations to sign. She was known for making warlords tremble and politicians cry. Rook had once seen her turn a 40-foot lizard soldier into a sobbing apology with a single glare. Sure enough, Quana arrived with that slow stride of a thunderstorm rolling into an unprepared town. She carried a stunned baton rumored to have started and ended 2-star conflicts. "Sergeant Harren," she said, her voice smooth and lethal. "Kidnapping state assets again, I see." He cradled the kittens, who purred a bit louder. "They're not state assets. They're fragile little guys who are about to be dissected. Also, one's named Flick. He sneezes pure static." "You gave them names?" Quana asked, arching a brow. "Well, Flick, Sprite, Ember, Flash, Dewey, and that one's Jax. They kind of demanded it." She crouched, letting one kitten sniff her armored glove. It gazed up at her with wide, glowing eyes. "Sergeant, these aren't just kittens. Well, I'm not sure. The lab readouts are bizarre. They're alive and in danger. That's enough for me." He looked down at the fuzzy rainbow in his arms. "They saved me from turret fire, or warped the path of the bullets. Something." Quana nodded thoughtfully, then sighed. "All right, we'll take them to a secure area. No vivisection, but I can't ignore the risk." She reached out. Flick responded by jumping onto her arm, purring a tune that vibrated the corridor. Quana frowned, as if feeling a headache. "Feels like they're rearranging my mind. Possibly reading me." A loud, sudden explosion cut their conversation short. A chunk of the hull tore open behind them, letting sparks shower down. Through the twisted metal strode 3 tall figures in cloaks that shimmered like a broken TV signal. Their glowing orbs hovered around them, humming with an eerie pitch. One figure spoke in a voice that lilted like a lullaby, but felt dangerous. "We're here for those hatchlings. Hand them over." "Hatchlings," Quana said, eyes narrowed. Rook glowered, raising his repeater. "They're not going anywhere with you, so you can float back where you came from." The lead figure didn't bother with subtlety. "You cannot comprehend what they are. You don't even know how they got onto your ship. If they complete their metamorphosis with the wrong host, entire realities can bend. So they're cosmic disasters on tiny paws." Rook muttered, "I think I'll keep them anyway." The second figure raised an orb. Rook braced himself. The kittens hissed in unison, and that strange reality-bending effect flickered again. The corridor rippled, like a stone dropping into water. The orb crackled, sputtered, and fizzled out. The cloaked trio exchanged worried glances. Quana gave a mocking smile. "Looks like you're out of luck." The trio didn't answer. They just advanced, the hum of their orbs ramping up. Rook's heart hammered. He had no illusions. If the kittens' powers failed, these strangers could flatten them. "Quana," he said quietly, "time to run." "Running is usually your thing, Harren," she grunted, but she was already stepping back. Then she whirled, and they both sprinted down the hall. The cloaked strangers gave chase with unnerving silence, except for that creeping hum that rattled Rook's teeth. The next few minutes were a blur of frantic footsteps, clanging doors, and the occasional terrifying flash of alien energy zipping over Rook's shoulder. One kitten meowed an alarm that sounded more like a submarine ping. Quana brandished her baton, threatening any drone or cult-like alien who got too close. Overhead, the AI demanded they stop. Rook prayed the dreadnought's autopilot wouldn't vent the deck into space. The kittens, for their part, meowed back at the AI, seemingly having a conversation in some bizarre code that spiked every sensor in the corridor. They dashed around a final corner and spilled into the main hangar. A rusted cargo shuttle shaped like a half-eaten bagel sat waiting. Rook recognized it as the Four Winds, a glorified junk hauler used for garbage runs. He pointed at it, panting, "I've flown that junk heap before. We can get out." Quana shot him a glare. "Stealing from the dreadnought's hangar is punishable by definitely still worth it," he finished. They bolted up the ramp. The kittens hissed in protest at the clamor. Flick hopped to a console, tiny paws pressing random buttons. The ship groaned to life in a shower of sparks. Outside, the cloaked figures arrived, orbs levitating menacingly. Rook slammed the hatch shut. "Take off now," he yelled. The four winds jerked sideways, nearly tossing them to the floor. The thrusters coughed, sputtered, then roared. With a shaky lurch, the vessel angled toward the hangar bay doors. The orbs outside glowed fiercely, hurling energy blasts that rattled the hull. But the kittens meowed in a perfect, high-pitched harmony. Each time, the blasts curved off course, deflecting into walls or scattering across the deck. Rook clenched the controls, heart pounding. Come on, come on. The hangar's force field parted just enough for them to rocket through. The blackness of space enveloped them, starlight shining on the battered hull. Quana quickly strapped herself into a seat, rolling her eyes at the flickering overhead lights. "We're going to get arrested, you know," she said. "And that's if we're lucky." Rook was more worried about the cloak pursuers. "They'll come after us, though, right?" He could practically feel them. People with that kind of power didn't give up. That a soft hiss from the console cut him off. Flick had somehow activated an FTL engine that shouldn't exist on a ship like this. Quana's jaw dropped. "That readout says we're skipping into a sector not on any official map. A restricted zone, maybe." Rook blinked at the display. Coordinates blinked in a language he couldn't read, which was definitely not standard. "Are the cats inputting the route?" Quana exhaled. "Looks that way. Buckle in, Harren." In a burst of light, they jumped. One moment, they were drifting near the dreadnought. The next, swirling nothingness stretched out the stars, then snapped them back, slingshotting the four winds into a corner of the galaxy that might as well have been a myth. Readouts went haywire, blinking warnings about nonlinear gravitational conditions. The ship's windows revealed a vast emptiness, silent and still, with no sign of normal star patterns. They had arrived somewhere. Quana unbuckled, peering outside. "No transmissions. No com signals." It's like we're alone in the entire universe. The kittens hopped around, meowing at the console. Rook tried to calm them. Flick and Jax batted the controls, as though searching for something. Then the pink one, Ember, let out a gentle squeak that glowed bright. The glow spread across the windshield, revealing a structure overshadowing them, a massive temple-like object drifting in the void. It pulsed, alive and ancient. "Ever see anything like that?" Rook asked quietly, stomach twisting with awe and fear. Quana shook her head. "Not in any records." She tapped the scanners. "It's broadcasting a single signal on repeat, but the encryption is, well, it's not like normal code. It's shifting constantly." The ramp opened on its own. A hush fell, as if the air inside the four winds recognized what was about to happen. The kittens hopped out, leading the way down to a floating platform that extended from the temple. Rook grabbed his repeater, though he suspected it'd be about as useful as a water pistol in a forest fire. They followed the kittens into a cavernous corridor lined with shimmering symbols. Each step felt like stepping on a living tapestry that responded to their presence. Walls seemed to rearrange themselves, forming passages. The kittens glowed, guiding them deeper. Finally, they entered a spherical chamber pulsing with soft color. In the center hovered a shifting orb that sparked with unreadable data. As the kittens approached, it glowed brighter, almost welcoming them. Quana's voice shook. "This place, it's not just technology. It's beyond tech or magic, like a library of existence." Rook felt something tug in his mind, not painful, but insistent. An overwhelming sense that the kittens were the key to everything. "What do you think they want?" "Maybe they need a host," Quana guessed. "Or a protector. This could be their home." Before they could guess further, a loud boom echoed from behind. The cloaked figures. They'd somehow followed them through the jump. Orbs hovered around them, crackling. One figure hissed, "Stand aside, humans. Those creatures belong to us. They're cosmic seeds, dangerous if they bond with the unworthy." Rook raised his weapon. "I'm not unworthy, but I'm stubborn." The kittens let out a single, collective meow that resonated through the entire chamber. Light flared, enveloping everyone. Symbols on the walls danced. Rook felt something shift in his chest, as though the universe held its breath. Then everything went quiet. The next thing Rook knew, he was at the center of the chamber, the kittens purring softly, forming a circle around him. Quana stood off to the side, blinking away tears from the sudden brightness. The cloaked figures froze, their orbs sputtering. A voice or presence, impossible to define, spoke inside Rook's mind. It felt like a gentle wave of warmth washing over every nerve in his body. In no words, just impressions. An awareness that these kittens were seeds of possibility, each one capable of rewriting the rules of nature. They'd latched onto him because he represented something they needed, a will to protect, a refusal to harm. Maybe they recognized he was too stubborn to exploit them, or maybe they just liked the way he never shut up, that he let out a shaky breath. So, you want to help me fix things? Or change them? A flash of agreement shimmered in his thoughts. The cloaked figures trembled. No, they spat. Those seeds must remain under our watch. But the seeds know the kittens glowed again. A wave of intangible force swept the figures off their feet, sending them tumbling back out of the chamber. Orbs flickered, short-circuited, and died. Silence returned, heavy but gentle. Quana stepped forward, speaking to no one in particular. So what's next? Rook lowered his repeater. A spark of comprehension danced behind his eyes. I think they want me to lead them, or guard them. I don't know. The temple began to shift around them, corridors rearranging, forming a path back to the landing platform. The message was clear. Their time here was done, for now. The kittens bounced back into Rook's arms, purring contentedly, as if to say, we found our home. But we're not staying put. Walking out, Rook felt changed. Not physically, he was still the same scruffy soldier with suspicious luck, but emotionally, mentally, he understood that the galaxy was so much bigger and stranger than he ever dreamed. These kittens were a glimpse into that cosmic wonder, living proof that sometimes the smallest, most helpless beings could rewrite an entire cosmos. As they boarded the four winds again, the temple receded into darkness, like a dream that disappears upon waking. In the cockpit, Rook placed the kittens down gently. They watched him with wide, trusting eyes. All right, he murmured. Guess I'm babysitting a bunch of neon fuzzballs who can warp reality. Quana lowered herself into the co-pilot's seat. How's that feel? He shrugged, lips curling into a wry grin. A lot better than letting them get dissected. She tapped the controls, noticing all warnings had vanished. Looks like the temple gave the ship some new data. We can jump out whenever we're ready. Rook braced his hands on the console. Then let's find a safe place, somewhere they can't be hunted. Might not exist, but we'll look. Quana nodded, her tough facade softening just a bit. I'll back you up. We'll protect them until we figure out a plan. Though if they can deflect bullets, maybe they can also fix this hunk of metal. The kittens chirped in unison, and a few console lights flicked to green. Rook laughed, shaking his head. Never thought I'd see Cosmic Cat mechanics at work. He initiated the jump. The starlight swirled once more, and the four winds vanished in a silent flash. In that brief moment, Rook felt them linking their thoughts to his, showing glimpses of countless stars, hidden realms, possible futures. A sense of hope flickered in his chest. Maybe these kittens were dangerous. Maybe they were wonderful. Either way, Rook decided they deserved a chance to live free, just like him, and fancy medals would be awarded. No galactic parade. In fact, they'd probably remain fugitives, hunted by those who believe cosmic seeds should be locked away or exploited. But Rook had never cared about medals or applause, only doing what he believed was right. Even if it got him labeled a traitor on every star chart. He closed his eyes as the ship completed its jump, the hum of the engines stabilizing. The kittens meowed happily, settling in around his seat, curling up like little living blankets. Quana eased them into a safe drift, scanning for any sign of pursuit. For once, the sensors were clear. Rook let himself relax. He'd run from 1,000 dangers in his time, but this felt different. He wasn't running to escape. He was running to protect. And with each purr from his new cosmic friends, he felt more sure that maybe, just maybe, he was finally doing something that mattered in the grand scheme of the universe. He scratched Flick under the chin, the neon pink fur shining brightly. Flick yawned, a sound that somehow reverberated like a gentle chime. Rook grinned. Don't get too comfy, buddy. The galaxy's still out there, and I'm pretty sure we haven't seen the last of those cloaked weirdos. Quana smirked. Think you'll regret all this in the morning? Rook shrugged with a quiet laugh. If we even make it to morning, sure. But until then, I'll keep these little guys safe. We owe them that. Out the viewport, stars sparkled, unbothered by the chaos of living creatures on a battered ship. Rook wondered what lay ahead. He didn't know if they'd find a permanent sanctuary or if they'd be forced to keep jumping, always a step ahead of trouble. But for now, it was enough. He had a mission that finally felt real. No official mandates, no questionable orders, just a soldier and 6 alien kittens forging a path through the galaxy.